Alongside my partner, former U.S. international Christopher Sullivan, I'm Brian Dunseth. And Christopher, first 5 minutes, what do you expect right out the gates between these two squads?
Well, I think that there's always the feeling out period, Brian. For Salt Lake, they know how strong they are at home. They don't want to deviate from that formula that's been so successful. So you look for them to press a little bit, sustain a high energy, and make it difficult for Colorado to settle in any type of rhythm.
For Real Salt Lake, 6 changes from their starting lineup for the 1-0 win over the Chicago Fire last Saturday. Good look at that man. Left back Anthony Wallace, the 21-year-old, making his 4th consecutive start under Gary Smith. The slight adjustment with Drew Moore pairing centrally with Marvell Wynn. Gene Alexander, Haitian international, all the way to the left-hand side, fights Chris Winger. Oh, we talked about a result tonight at home. Full 3 points for Real Salt Lake, and Jason Kreis's club will clinch a playoff spot, the first time that they have not had to wait till the final day of Major League Soccer play. Ball up over the top, Andy Williams, flick header from Pablo Campos, and into the hands of Matt Pickens.
Well, you look for good looks at the beginning. What an occasion here for Pablo Campos. And you can see the acrobatic ability in the air to be able to pull and get strength behind, but he just doesn't have the precision to put that in the corner and tuck it away.
Kosuke Kimura trying to build up the right-hand side, turned over. Colin Warner, the rookie out of Portland, keeps possession, switches to the near side, Tony Beltran. Ball clipped up over the top, looking for Warner. Great little piece of skill from Colin Warner. An athletic recovery from Marvell Wynn.
You see this little cutaway reception and good sense and feeling of the defensive pressure right there as he pulls away a little pirouette and a shovel technique under, picks up an important corner. This is the type of attacking initiative that you like to take out of the gate.
Andy Williams from the corner to the near post, cleared by Lorenowitz. Grabavoy, snap down header, back to Williams to keep possession. First touch, service in the box. Pickens off his line. Big right-handed punch by Mac Pickens. See another look at the service. Andy Williams looking for Fabian Espindola. Athletic punch from the 28-year-old keeper. Winger looking for Warner. Cut out by Lorenowitz. And Christopher, heading into the night, we knew the relationship between Omar Cummings, Connor Casey, 20 goals so far this season. He's not available, but in comes Matt Conji. Different look than what we saw when he was with the New York Red Bull.
Without a doubt, totally different look, but equally a very talented player. He can create, he can improvise, he can score. But with Omar Cummings, probably as good as any team in the league. He gives you pure speed where you can stretch and allow the midfielders to operate and see the right options. Great ball.
Marvell Wynn getting in front of Fabian Espindola, goes down underneath the tug of the jersey, and it'll be a foul on Real Salt Lake. Marvell Wynn, 2nd consecutive start after going off against the Houston Dynamo with a right hamstring injury. And a different look for the Colorado Rapids. Currently in the middle of that playoff bubble race with San Jose's win tonight, taking them to 39 points. Colorado trailing them by just 2 points as the foul committed on Matt Conji just on the near side of the 18-yard box. Jamie Smith, whipped in ball, looking for the top of the 6, just out of the reach of Matt Conji.
That is a great ball. I mean, you look and you get 3 looks across, near post, central part of the heart of the area, and then you get the far post with Laurentowicz coming through here. Not a bad ball. One of the players we didn't talk about in the pregame, who I think is really the special one for Colorado, is Jamie Smith. We've seen him take over games. We've seen where he can light it up. He's kind of like Ryan Giggs in his own right, where he takes players down. He's extremely confident when he's isolated. He's got great vision, great precision in his passing.
Big header won by Kanji. Took a bump from Borchers. Still holding his head in the middle part of the field. Campos flicked into space. Marvell Wynn all the way back to his keeper. Kimura looking for the head of Kanji. Takes another bump from Borchers. And again, Borchers committing the foul.
I see that Ramon Hernandez is going to pull over and have a talk. He's trying to set that early tone because the referee knows the history of these two teams. He knows the importance of this game. And he knows that there's intensity, there's energy, but that tone's being set on both sides. Attacking-wise and defensively, they don't want to give up too much in the midfield. I think it's been a good start in the first 5-6 minutes.
Larinowitz, driven in ball, looking for the top of the 6-yard box. Drew Moore. Kyle Rainish lets it roll out. It'll be a goal kick for Real Salt Lake.
I see one of the trends that we've seen is that back post run, and he squeezed in between Beltran. Wallace does well. He just tries to put himself in position. Drew Moore is definitely the target going forward.
Good look at the man in goal tonight for Real Salt Lake, Nick Raimondo. Available off the bench, but it's Kyle Rainish. Tonight, his 3rd start of 2010 for the former UCSB product. Ramon Hernandez waving Fabian Espindola off the field. Espindola missing his shin guards. Rainish.
It looks like what he put in there isn't bigger than a deck of cards. Some players they just don't like too much on the shins.
Kanji utilizing that pace, just going up the backside of Rashawn McKenzie.
And I think we're going to be talking about this matchup all night. Even though Kanji, he's not quite as fast as what you get with Cummings. But if you look at the starting position of Wallace, he's been extremely flat beside Borchard. He's not laying off 5-6 yards to give that extra little space and get the feel of the forwards on their runs.
Fabian Espindola at the bottom of your screen, waiting to be called back in. Had to have shin guards brought to him from the locker room. The 4th official did not like the size. Christopher, we talked about the multiple changes for Real Salt Lake that they were forced to make. Jason Christ trying to utilize the depth of his squad. We've already seen this physical matchup between Matt Kanji and Nat Borchers. How does it change now after this buildup with no Hamas and Olave? That big physicality in the back is not there.
Right.
And so far, we've seen Nat Borchers get stuck in a few times early.
Yeah, I think everyone that was looking to this matchup was talking about that particular matchup between Kanji or Connor Casey and Olave. Olave is the standard in the league. He's got to be one of the best, central defenders with his positional sense, the way that he can play, the intensity, the energy that he gives. He's very difficult to break down. But again, it's a big opportunity to build that depth. And Jason Christ, the proof is in the pudding. If you see that he can put out a team totally different and still play good football, that tells you that they're doing something right.
Rashawn McKenzie tonight getting just his 2nd start of the season as Pablo Campos continues to put pressure across the back line. Marvell Wynn once again up to the challenge. Andy Williams. Pressured off the ball by Brian Mullen. Into the feet of Kanji. Doubled up, force wide. Great piece of skill from Kanji. Gene Alexander goes to close down space, just overhit. Looking for the run of Connor Casey.
Oh, it was great. And we talked about the ability to improvise and good ingenuity. And this move comes to life because he pauses on the right side. The 3 didn't know what he was going to do. They collapse and try to squeeze him. He pulls right out very quickly. And Connor can get that ball. I mean, if he puts it in the right zone behind that central defender, Wallace has been pushing up. He can break behind him. So look for that.
Alexander to the near side. Campos settles with his chest, finds the feet of Williams. Colin Warner pushing a little bit higher. Good step from Marvell Wynn. Beltran doubles up, goes down underneath the heavy challenge of Connor Casey. And Casey First to go in the book of Ramon Hernandez.
You heard in the interviews that Pablo Mastroeni said a lot of side stories, a lot of history, a lot of intensity. You just can't really articulate, but that's what you've seen in the past before. And he comes across, clips him good, lifts both legs up, and actually the whole bench of Real Salt Lake was cleared. I don't think it's as bad, you know, as it looked clearly a yellow card because he's not getting intentionally touching the ball here, but that sets the tone again. For Salt Lake, I'm surprised that Colorado hasn't pressed the young players as much. They pulled back, you know, 2/3 of the field. And they're allowing these kind of looks that we're seeing. That type of delivery into Campos, who's very high in the reference points. Espindola is getting space. The young Warner is getting looks, you know, although he has his back to goal. So it's a good start. The fluidity and rhythm is just starting to creep in to the feet of Salt Lake.
Speaking of Salt Lake, let's take a look at Christopher's approaches for the home side.
Well, I think it's pretty simple. You know, we look at what Salt Lake wants to do tonight. They need that energy. They need to sustain that pressing at home. Always coordination, you know, where they have the balance. They push on both sides, compact, and they can squeeze the midfield, and then look for that definition in the final third.
Confirmation of that yellow card to Connor Casey. He was coming in on yellow card warning. He will miss the next match against Philadelphia. Casey, down the left-hand side. Pressure by Beltran. Deflected service on the way in. Well, let's take a look at Christopher's approaches for Colorado.
For Colorado in this type of game, you heard Mastroeni say we have to be so quick on the counter. You know, the transition speed is paramount, compact balance. And then in the final third, when you get your chance on standard situations, set plays, you have to maximize those opportunities and be decisive.
It'll be Jamie Smith with an in-swinger from the near side. Penalty spot. Drew Moore! Off the line by Ned Grabavoy. Great placement by the midfielder.
And I think one of the areas where Colorado could be dangerous on these corners, you know, they're looking for the short, they're mixing it up.
Ball still inside the 18-yard box. Grabavoy recovers, looks to keep possession. Heavy challenge from Brian Mullen, and it'll be a throw-in on the near side for Real Salt Lake. Ned Grabavoy tonight making his 16th start of 2010, utilized in that diamond formation. They always talk about keeping that one player on the post. That time, Grabavoy coming up huge for Kyle Rainish. Warner finds the feet of Andy Williams. Bodies into Lorenowitz. Back to Warner. Kosuke Kimura, flipped up ball looking for Kanji. Warner, picked off by Mastroeni. Pablo finds the feet of Matt Kanji. Shot from distance, wide right of the post of Kyle Rainish.
It's not far, you know, it's 2-3 yards, and you can see that both Wingert and Borchers pull off, and Kanji is smart enough, he's got the presence of mind just to pull and make an easy target from the feet of Mastroeni. You talk about a veteran and an experienced player, Gene Alexander, really smart, beautifully built athlete, you know, in the midfield, but that just thought process and intelligence of Mastroeni and knowing when to come and push up and rob the ball, fantastic.
We always talk about the ability, the technical ability of Gene Alexander. One of the nicknames, though, because of his physicality, is Little Olave, for his ability to really set the tone in the midfield.
That's not a bad nickname.
Lorenowitz. Outlet from Pickens on the right-hand side. Pressure from Grabavoy. Lorenowitz looking to keep possession. Mullen doubled up on the far side, and Colorado with the throw. Well, for an update from the sidelines, let's send it down to Steve Bell.
Yeah, thanks, guys. A game that you would probably not want to forget your shin guards, but that's exactly what happened when you're playing your biggest rival, and there's some hard hitting like we've seen so far, but that's exactly what happened with Espindola. Came out, realized he didn't have his shin guards, came over, and if you read Jason Kreis's lips, he picked up the first one. He said, hey, these look like shin guards. They feel like shin guards. To me, these are shin guards. Fourth official said, no way. Got to get something a little bit thicker. They made the substitution. He's good to go. But again, the hard hitting, definitely a night you want to have the guards ready.
Thank you, Steve. Technicalities, Christopher.
Yep.
The size, the shape, always different for each player. Service, looking to the far post. Rainish off his line. Big punch by the goalkeeper. Lorenowitz keeps it in. Chance at the top of the box. Mastroeni, 50-50 challenge with Warner. Back to Mullen. And cut out from Andy Williams. Espinola, time and space on the right-hand side. Chased down by Marvell Wynn. Espinola looking for that left foot. Heavy challenge from Marvell Wynn. And Ramon Hernandez, heavy run up. Hernandez, second player to go in the book. Marvell Wynn, 16th minute.
And it looked like it was a timely tackle as he comes. That's why you're getting the complaints. I see Mastroeni is trying to get a hold of the referee in the middle and just figure out, how he's calling this game. Espinola loves to cut back on the outside of his left foot right here. And you're going to see his first touch is back. I don't think, he touches the ball, he comes through. For me, that is not a dirty tackle. He clearly is intending, he makes contact on the ball.
While he's not the tallest player on the field, Marvell Wynn, obviously one of the most physical. Right there, it looked like a great challenge from the Colorado Rapids center back.
Sometimes you're coming so fast, and the player jumps up a little bit, calls the attention to the referee and the assistant referee. The question is how much he's showing the bottom of those studs coming across the second foot.
It'll be Andy Williams, Jamaican international, service from the right-hand side. 17th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Service into the box, cleared from Connor Casey.
I see a couple things happening. Espinola coming back on, the fourth official. Gary Smith is off his technical area. He's been talking as well. He thought that they were wronged, on that call. But it disrupts that little rhythm that Salt Lake was starting to enjoy. They're starting to push. They were breaking out, and Colorado's coming back in. They're starting to push. They're finding the midfield. The game's opening up.
Big clearance out of the back from Marvell Wynn. Matt Concha putting pressure on Borchers. Ball falls to the big number 10. Now under pressure from Winger. It skips away. Concha looking to keep possession, finds the feet of Casey. Back to Lorenowitz. Outlets to his left for Mastrioni. Has the run of Wallace. Beltran, initial pressure. Simple ball, looking for the feet of Jamie Smith. Challenge in the box, and the referee says get up.
Well, you're starting to see the frustration settle in. Also, Kanji a moment ago, Winger comes in, and then he's going to push away. Grabavoy comes to help double team. Watch this right here. And then they have the word. So on the other side, Jamie Smith feels that he's getting clipped. The energy and the intensity starting to rise.
He talked about what Matt Kanji can bring to the attack of Colorado Rapids. Incredible amount of skill shown throughout the first 18 minutes. McKenzie finds Alexander. Will cut in ball to Grabavoy. Good pressure from Lorenowitz. Winger looking for the chest of Campos. Campos keeps possession. Another heavy challenge from Marvell Wynn on the sideline. And it'll be a throw-in for the Colorado Rapids.
Now you see Marvell Wynn, his leg gets caught up between the two. Campos is well positioned. I see Grabavoy has switched now over to the right side. I think what's important, we talked about this, Brian, before the game, the importance of those wide midfielders to pinch in and really assist Andy Williams and Gene Alexander, to hold and solidify the midfield. This is a game when you get this type of intensity and energy that you need a Beckerman, you need a Morales to solve it, to control a game, to bring the rhythm down and then accelerate it.
Espinola flicked into space looking for Warner. Clearance by Drew Moore. Great skill from Connor Casey. Under pressure from Rashawn McKenzie.
Yeah.
Another kick out behind the play. Casey already sitting on the yellow card.
Yeah, you see that Ramon Hernandez had already made the call before, and then there's that late retaliation with a flick. He said, you got the call, but what you did after wasn't right.
You have to wonder if Connor Casey hadn't picked up the yellow card a few minutes before.
Right.
If right there he'd be booked for that.
Without a doubt. I think what we're seeing now is that Andy Williams playing the top of the diamond. So he's playing there. They've put Campos back a little bit deeper. At times they're breaking with three up front.
Lorenowitz. Great ball for Anthony Wallace on the near side. Service looking for Casey. Gets his head to it. And it looked like he mugged the back of Rashawn McKenzie. So good in the box, Connor Casey.
Well, he's so good focusing on the flight of the ball. Look at this. This ball is dipping. It's great service from Wallace, and it's just a battle with the upper body. He's using his lower legs as well to get position, but clearly a foul.
Connor Casey, 3 goals in his last 4 matches. Already tied for Colorado Rapids' goal-scoring record alongside Paul Bravo at 39 goals. And you talk about the progression of goal scoring for Connor Casey. 13 goals, 4 assists in 08, 16 goals, 1 assist last year, and having a good year so far. 10 goals, 5 assists.
He's had a great year as well, Connor Casey, with his passing and his playmaking. Sometimes he drops off. The game we did against Houston, he was outstanding as a complementing player. I mean, obviously, Cummings was great. Smith was outstanding, but Casey was multifaceted in his ability. Very strong.
Colorado with a lot to prove in tonight's match. Last year, final day of Major League Soccer play, it was winner take all, not only for the Rocky Mountain Cup, but also for a spot in the 2009 MLS Cup playoffs as the Renowitz looks for the run of Mullen in the box. Mullen keeps possession, chased by Winger. Back to Smith. Top of the 18-yard box, Smith. Deflected ball on the way in, recovered by Grabavoy. Mastroeni to Wallace. We're seeing those heavy 50-50 challenges all over the field.
But that run from Mullen was fantastic. He opens up the line and splits the central defense, but nobody ran off him behind him. It looked like Mullen had his eye just a little bit glanced behind him. He wanted to flick into the area.
Wallace in the box, deflected by Borchers, cleared by Winger. Campos tries to keep possession, finds the feet of Grabavoy. Pressure from Wallace behind.
Now Wallace has looked good, huh? He shot out like a cannon on this left side. His crosses have been great. A faster tempo than what we're used to seeing on that left side. And probably perfect for Casey because he's got great awareness.
A WPS Championship, it's the final. FC Gold Pride hosting Philadelphia Independence. 6 p.m. Eastern kickoff, live here on Fox Soccer Channel. Real Salt Lake currently in the middle of their 56-day, 14-match schedule. Currently, 6 wins, 1 loss, 4 draws between MLS and CONCACAF Champions League play. And right now, topping Group A, above Cruz Azul. And through 4 matches, a win Tuesday in Toronto would book their spot in the quarterfinals next March. On top of their MLS record 23-game unbeaten streak, losing just once in 20 MLS games. RSL has the chance to rewrite 5 MLS records if they finish strong here in the 2010 season. 50-50 challenge, Espinola in the box.
And you're starting to see the movement and interchanging, but off the ball, that little anticipation. This one drops right at the feet. I think it surprises Espinola. He wanted to caress it right into the path to slot it away. Doesn't go his way. One thing about Williams, he has a great variation to his corners. He can play short, he can play medium, he can definitely blend and mix it up.
Second corner kick for Real Salt Lake, looking for the far post. Just over hit, it'll be a throw-in for Colorado. We saw an up and down summer for the Colorado Rapids, but once head coach Gary Smith made some changes to his back line as we take a look at Jason Kreis. Kosuke Kimura, full-time starter on the right-hand side with Marvell Wynn pinching in, and then the adjustment. Drew Moore had been primarily playing on that left-hand side, tucks inside, and they bring in the 21-year-old Anthony Wallace. Things have really shored up, especially at home.
Yeah, and I think they're always looking to build, you know, that missing piece. You have to give credit to Gary Smith. He's done a good job architect and a team that can play complete football. Also with the rigors that you endure playing in MLS, because the tempo and the pace and the physicality can wear a team down. So they're very well balanced. But they do miss Cummins.
Alexander finds the feet of Warner. Pressure from Mastroni. Nice little piece of skill from the rookie. Winger all the way up the left-hand side. Finds the feet of Espindola. Cut in between two players. Espindola, around Wynn. Espindola, last second defending from Marvell Wynn. Real Salt Lake earns their third corner kick.
That is a beautiful slalom, and this is what makes Fyron Espindola one of the most exciting players, along with Morales in the league. Look, he uses both arms in anticipation, cuts like a razor, and he's just trying to slide good recovery slide tackle right here from Wynn.
Williams looking for the back of the six. Borchers goes up. Alexander, deflected shot. He earns the corner. Fourth corner kick of the night taken from Andy Williams. Pushing and shoving in the box. Williams looking for the top of the six. Cleared out by Drew Moore. An early throw in taken from Andy Williams. Looking for the run of Colin Warner. Rolls out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for Matt Pickens. Quickly taken out to the left-hand side. Wallace.
I saw a moment ago Gary Smith. He's giving some indications with his hands to Kanji and Casey. And it's just a slight how he wants them to move and interchange and rotate to make themselves available when they build out.
Head coach Gary Smith not afraid to make changes over the past 2 years. Pat Noonan, Preston Burpo, Corey Gibbs, Nick LaBroca, Jordan Harvey, Mehdi Bellucci, Colin Clark, Jacob Peterson.
Yeah.
All moving to different clubs.
And I think he got a lot out of those players, but the question, Brian, is how do you get to the championship? We're here, we have an opportunity at the playoffs. How do you get to that next level? We're competitive, but how do we get consistently good the way that Salt Lake are?
And two big moves in the last 2 weeks. Mehdi Bellucci to New York in favor of Matt Kanji, and then Colin Clark, probably one of the big surprises because he is injured, going to the Houston Dynamo. And Brian Mullen, first time we've seen him in a long time playing for another club.
Right.
He was always really that heart and soul type player for Dominic Kinnear.
Yeah, it's a great pickup. But I think it's win-win all the way around. Brian Mullen's great for Colorado. Clark is going to be a fantastic addition. That's Dominic Kinnear. He's like a young Mullen. He's someone who's going to go and penetrate and open up games and be an attacking catalyst. Mehdi Bellucci looks right at home in New York.
Different look for Mehdi Bellucci last night playing underneath Juan Pablo Angel. Espindola. Softball looking for the far post. Campos. Another great read from Pickens. Andy Williams keeps the ball in play. 1-versus-1 with Lorettoans. Gets his service. Looking for Campos again.
Now you can see, and Andy Williams was very smart and slide. He takes a look at Pickens and freezes him on the second. Look at the first cross with the effect. The way that Fabian Espindola pulls his leg out. Just beautiful. Campos puts himself almost in the right position. Pickens does everything to get that out.
Size and strength, the 6'4" Pablo Campos causing problems around the 6-yard box for Colorado. Winger under pressure from Kanji. The forward does a good job as Real Salt Lake picks up the throw. Alexander settles, shot from distance. Great shot from Gene Alexander.
You see the whole bench, including Jason Christ, everybody on their feet, and this woke up the crowd. And we saw his first one that went off. This one he strikes perfect with perfection. He gets behind it on the half volley, comes right off it. Pop, pop. Fantastic.
It was a friendly against Lynn University 3 years ago that put Gene Alexander on the map. Campos up over his head. Alexander hitting a ball from 40 yards, beating Chris Seitz from distance. That's one of the reasons why he was so.
Yeah, and you see the collection here. He's trying to keep it low. He knows he's got the altitude. Really gets great pace behind it. There was a little bit of a wall, you know, that kind of forced Pickens, and he almost seemed surprised when it arrived so quickly at him.
Head coach Gary Smith focusing. Everything coming out in the papers in the recent weeks, knowing that it was going to be a difficult test coming to Rio Tinto Stadium. It was going to be an emotional one, especially after the last 3 years. And tonight, the first leg of 2 matches in the Rocky Mountain Cup between Real Salt Lake and the Rapids. Williams settles. Looking for Warner, finds Campos. Fortunate touch for Drew Moore.
He wasn't thinking, you know, one step ahead. You got a great run from the young Warren, who put himself at the top of the area. It's just a simple layoff. Good ball from Andy Williams, good vision.
Kimura, all the way up the right-hand side. Kanji, isolated on that left side. Looking to go around Borchers, a little bit of a tug. And the foul committed on Kanji.
One of the things that Matt Kanji will keep that back 4 of Salt Lake honest, you know, because it's this type of move right here that he can make something out of nothing. And I think that Borchers gets the benefit of the doubt.
Matt Kanji, when he's deployed in that forward position, we've seen so much creativity, so much skill. During the end of his stay with the New York Red Bulls, pushed more to that right-hand side with the introduction of Thierry Henry alongside Juan Pablo Angel.
Yeah. You see the last little sequence here. Gravovoy is sitting a little bit deeper, and he's operating and orchestrating. And now you're getting better movement. It's allowing Espindola, who's starting to float. He's building his appetite. He's lifting the game up. He's coming in. You know, he looks like he's the top player on the field up to this point.
Mastroeni finding space, forcing the foul on Pablo Campos.
But if you're Jason Kreis, you got to be concerned. Yeah, there's another yellow.
Second yellow card of the season handed out to Pablo Campos, 33rd minute.
Yeah, he's just trying to slow down and disrupt. Mastroeni hitting that space from deep midfield. But and this is, you know, I was talking about Jason Kreis. Here is where Connor Casey or Kanji, they can punish him. And you get a free kick. Laurentowicz has great precision. He makes hard movements in the box, so they have to be secure here and attentive.
Laurentowicz from distance, looking for the back of the 6. And he was looking for Drew Moore, well covered on the back door. Well, let's send it down the sideline with Steve Bell, who's got an update on the scoreless streak for Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake has not conceded a goal since August 11th. And if they can hold on for the next 3 minutes and keep this clean sheet, then they will set the MLS record for 567 shutout minutes. Guys, the defense has been outstanding. Nick Raimondo, who has 12 shutouts, would be the first to tell you, though it's not all him. The back line has been fantastic. As a matter of fact, the win last week against Chicago, he did not need to make one save in the game, and Colorado has not registered a shot on goal yet in this one.
Thank you, Steve. Real Salt Lake looking to break their own record. Just 16 goals allowed this season, the record in league play throughout the course of a year. The Houston Dynamo, 23 goals given up. Shot from the top of the 18-yard box and into the chest of Kyle Range.
One of the things we saw with Jamie Smith when they had that fantastic game against Houston, they played him at home in Colorado, is that he was the, you know, the catalyst in the midfield, but he didn't stay just isolated on that left side. He pushed into the middle, he went to the right, he went and found the game and exploded more up the middle of the field. So I think at some point when you're thinking Gary Smith, right now he's concerned and preoccupied with Real Salt Lake, what they're doing with the ball, with their game. But when they break, you know, you might want to try to adjust and modify that player in different positions.
Real Salt Lake currently sitting on a 23-game unbeaten streak, 29 in all competitions, including the CONCACAF Champions League, as well as the MLS Cup playoffs. Christopher, one of the things we always hear about Real Salt Lake, Rio Tinto in particular, is altitude.
Yeah.
Altitude being an issue. Flipped
Great
up ball,
ball.
looking for Campos, and into the chest of Pickens.
See, this one Campos has to anticipate and actually take the ball down, because if he looks for the skip, he's not going to get there. Great ball from Espindola. Foul. No? And you see the applauding of Jason Price, this is his young defender who's filling in for Olave, and he comes through strong.
We've seen a mixture of center backs deployed from Jason Christ. Chris Schuler playing 2 90-minute matches in the last week. Jamison Olave, we knew earlier in the season he had a few little injury issues with his knee.
Yeah.
But Rashawn McKenzie, once again, getting the start, his last start at Philly, where they predominantly played a younger team, similar to what we're seeing tonight. Jesus Christ's club picking up a result on the road.
And you see this dialogue on the sideline between Gary Smith and Jamie Smith. And I think just what we were talking about, he's trying to get him in the game to be more instrumental and influence the attack.
Mullen isolated against winger, pressured by Andy Williams. Back to the right back, Kimura. Good service in the box. Casey, unmarked. Connor Casey, 1-0, 36th minute.
Oh, this is just what we were talking about. Just a few minutes ago, we said, even though you're dominating the possession, you're pushing forward, if you give this player, Connor Casey, an inch, a glimpse of light, he will punish you. And there's a little bit of a slip-off on Borcher, I believe. Great cross with good precision, good surprise element to get it off in the position that Kimura does. And look, just a pull back right here, one quick touch, lifts it over the top. Now watch the slip right there, and he puts it away. Unlike Campos on the other side, even from further out, fantastic goal. I think it was McKenzie who slips right there, but tries to make up on the recovery, and he just gives him an inch, and he's punished.
Connor Casey, his 11th goal of the season, his 4th goal in the last 5 matches. And with that goal, that takes him to 40 goals in a Rapids kit. The visitors, 1-0 lead, 37th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium.
That is a good move from Campos here in the midfield, but you got to go back, Brian, to the early opportunity where Campos was 6 yards out. Casey's, what was he, 12, 11 yards out right there, and he's snapping away from the ball with efficiency, with power, and snaps that right into the far corner. Fantastic goal. Huge goal.
Williams driven in the back post. Touched out. It'll be another corner kick for Real Salt Lake. They're 6 in the first half. Andy Williams all the way across to the right-hand side. Brian Mullen matched up with Fabian Espindola. Service, looking for the far post. Snap down header from Campos, just right of the post of Matt Pickens.
I see the effect. He drives it in a little bit differently. He clips it with a different type of flight. I think if you look at Colorado statistically too, you know, once they've led, if they're leading at halftime, I believe they're 4-0-1 in victory. So that just tells you that they know how to manage with players like Laurentowicz and Mastroeni, how to stay tight in the midfield, rotate the ball and relay, and look for their opportunity when it presents itself to break out.
With the first goal, the Colorado Rapids have not lost this season. 10 wins, 4 draws, have been very deadly. But Christopher, the one thing we always go back to is Gary Smith has been very vocal and adamant about the relationship between Omar Cummings and Connor Casey being so good together. The question is, who else steps up?
Yeah.
If you continue to rely on them so long, does it end up hurting you in the long run, similar to what happened at the end of last season?
Yeah.
Espindola, chested down, looking for Campos. Campos, top of the 18, looking for his right foot. Campos, hesitation. Pablo Campos. Deflection on the way in, and another corner kick for Real Salt Lake.
He did magnificent here. Pablo Campos, that's the fastest that I've seen him move his feet in a while. He cuts, he separates, he pulls himself in a good position. You can see that he's got that earmark, that final movement to freeze. Drew Moore was great. Now he's looking at the back post. Good positional sense there from Wynn.
Williams looking for the penalty spot. Players down in the box. Marvell Wynn. 1 versus 3. Pin in the air's back. Gene Alexander pressuring from his left-hand side. Going up against Winger. Good positioning from Chris Winger, and absorbs the foul on Marvell Wynn.
I think if you're Jason Christ and you're looking at the first half, you're 39 minutes in, and you've already had 7 corners. You're getting good looks going into there. You can't panic, but you got to kick it up another gear. Make sure that you're you know, you put a premium on the possession, how you move the ball, relay, get the ball into Spindola more, where he's isolated one-on-one. We saw in the first 10-15 minutes how important and dangerous he can be. He looks like he's the key factor that can tip the scale and bring them back in the game.
Jason Kreis making 6 changes to his starting 11 from the 1-0 win against the Chicago Fire last weekend. Talk about firepower off the bench. Nick Raimondo, Kyle Beckerman, Robbie Finley, Will Johnson, Robbie Russell, Alvaro Saborio, Chris Schuler, all available as substitutes.
That's a cadre. Any of those players that come in, 3 in particular. You know, Saborio comes in, you have a game changer right there. I think he's been one of the best late acquisitions in this league, including the DPs that have come in.
Alvaro Saborio, 9 goals, 4 assists in MLS play, 6 goals in just 4 matches in CONCACAF Champions League. Espindola looks for the settle, another heavy challenge, well run by Marvell Wynn. Incredibly active across the back line tonight, Marvell Wynn. Colin Warner, pressure from Wallace, back to Williams. Espindola cuts.
He's done
Another
well.
timely step by Wynn.
I think the space has helped Marvell Wynn. Good lunge right here from Wallace. And you see that Ramon Hernandez is letting some play go. I mean, he's letting the physicality.
Great piece of skill from Warner. Back to Williams. Warner finding space. Skips away from Smith. Goes down.
And you see, he took that snapshot. He had a look of 2 or 3 options. Espindola, he opens up the hips. Just a little pause and a drag that he pulls across his body right here. Good ingenuity from the young player.
15th overall pick out of the University of Portland tonight, making just his 4th start. And the coaching staff of Real Salt Lake extremely high in the future of the 22-year-old Colin Warner. Good spot so far in the first 45 minutes, but give credit. Jeff Larinowitz, Pablo Mastroeni, very, very physical in that midfield. Espindola, Gene Alexander, Andy Williams, all over the ball. 35 yards out. Slow walk up from Andy Williams. Alexander. Gene Alexander from distance. Wide left to Matt Pickens.
There's a reason they're giving him the call, and they're giving him the looks. You can see that he's good at keeping it low. He follows through. Good pressure to step out right here from Kimura. They want that goal. They want the equalizer. You can see they got good fans, good rhythm, banging the drums. Beautiful setting tonight. The weather's perfect, fresh.
Williams finds the feet of Campos. Isolated one-on-one with Drew Moore. Wallace recovering, in for Espindola. Kimura, Espindola in the box. And Mastroeni, big clear. Real Salt Lake creating opportunities within the 18-yard box.
You've seen they coming to life. Campos is moving good off the ball. Warren's getting forward. Espindola's just from side to side, finding the holes and the channels.
Beltran finds the feet of Espindola. Little cutback, skips away, goes down underneath the challenge of Wallace. Little dummy from Williams. Winger to the left of Grabavoy. Back inside the Williams. Has Gene Alexander to his right. Espindola to his right. Tony Beltran on the sideline. Espindola, shot from distance. Well covered by Pickens.
Yeah, and Pickens, you can see that he took that seriously. He didn't hang around here. This is a shot before. Great layoff ball into the feet of Espindola with pressure. Kimura's there, and he's just got an earmark. It looks like Wynn has saved probably a handful, half a dozen of times he's been in the right place at the right time.
A live Chelsea versus Arsenal Twitter chat with former England international Newcastle defender Warren Barton. This Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Submit your questions using the @FSCTV Twitter tag. Closing moments of the first half here at Rio Tinto Stadium. The visitors, Colorado Rapids, up 1-0 through a 36-minute goal from Connor Casey, taking his tally to 11 goals so far this season. The aforementioned Casey looks to skip away from Rashawn McKenzie A little challenge behind the play from Pablo Mastroianni.
Look at this.
Ramon Hernandez, central referee, sending off equipment manager Kevin Hart.
Someone's got to do it. he's taking the hit for Jason Christ.
Well, that man, Yadier Reyes, the fourth official, taking a verbal battering from both sides tonight in the first 45 minutes. Started with shin guards, ended with a heavy challenge on the right-hand side. Gary Smith wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
But we knew heading into this match, emotions would be high. Real Salt Lake carrying the Rocky Mountain Cup the last 3 seasons, as well as knocking Colorado Rapids out of playoff contention as well.
I see a moment ago Gary Smith, he's trying to get that formula right up front where they can press those defenders so it's not easy for them to exit and find that long diagonal ball. That has been so encouraging for Jason Christ and Real Salt Lake. And they got the fluidity, they have the rhythm, they have the movements. The final third, they're penetrating and getting forward, but not as clean as they'd like to.
Williams skips away from Kimura. Ooh. Cut out by Mastroianni. Pressure from Campos. Long ball out of the back by Drew Moore, looking for Connor Casey. That ball will skip out for Real Salt Lake thrown.
You're starting to see a little bit of frustration. I'm taking a look at the captain out there, Pablo Mastroianni. A little frustration because they're giving the ball too easily. And after a while, you chase. You're running from side to side as a block like an accordion, and then the tongue starts hanging out. You get tired. And so look for that to take its effect in the second half. One goal can breathe life in Real Salt Lake.
Well, we talked about the physicality of James and Olave. Is it maybe because the speed of James and Olave is not across the back line tonight? That could be one of the reasons why we're seeing so many long balls out of the back.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Well, I think a little bit out of desperation, but it's been a great first half. And we've always talked about this challenge between the two teams. It will be elevated. It'll be open in the second half. Great start from the plan from Gary Smith, getting that early goal on the counter. Should be great in the second half.
Real Salt Lake has never come from behind when trailing at halftime. It's the visitors, Colorado Rapids, up 1-0 over Real Salt Lake here on FSC.
Guest, you read it right. Vinny Jones, the toughest man to ever play football, or so he says. Welcome back to Rio Tinto Stadium, and looky here, Colorado with the lead, and Real Salt Lake's home unbeaten record in serious jeopardy. Remember, Real Salt Lake hasn't lost here in 16 months, May of 2009. The last time they went down in defeat here at Rio Tinto. What a game it's been. It's been rocky, tough. There's been yelling, shouting. The equipment manager's been ejected. There's been 3 yellow cards, but what did you expect? It's Colorado versus Salt Lake. We'll have your Panasonic first half highlights coming up momentarily. But let's show you what else we have here on Fox Soccer Channel this week. And guess what? That's right. Salt Lake plays again on Tuesday. They travel to Canada. In fact, they're headed on a plane about 12 hours from now. If they beat Toronto, they advance to the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League. Then on Wednesday, Seattle looking for their first win in group play as they host Marathon of Honduras, 10 p.m. Eastern live here on FSC. Games around Major League Soccer, some midweek clashes. Dallas and New England draw. Kansas City over Houston. New York wins on the road at L.A. And then earlier today, New England and Columbus. Actually, I believe that game finished 2-2. DC versus Houston. Houston did win that game. Seattle over Chicago, and FC Dallas beating Kansas City. Highlights of all these games coming up during our post-game show. If Salt Lake can come from behind after giving up the first goal for the first time this season and win this game, they'll clinch a postseason berth, but that's a lot of ifs. Highlights next.
This is the Dick's Sporting Goods Halftime Report.
Chelsea goes down, Arsenal goes down. Man U hopes to avoid a defeat tomorrow. You can see it on Fox Soccer Plus as they face Bolton. And then on FSC, it's Newcastle and Stoke City at 11. Those are called the Salt Lake City Golden Girls. They're all over 50, and they're dancing. Now that's called halftime entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our Dick's Sporting Goods halftime show. My name is Todd Grisham. Colorado scoring the first goal tonight. When they've done that, they're unbeaten this season through 14 games, 10 wins and 4 draws. That's not good news for a Salt Lake City team looking to defend their home turf. The longest unbeaten home streak in MLS history is on the line here. And early on, it was Drew Moore off the corner kick, heading high. And then Matt Kanji, the new signee from the New York Red Bulls. He caused a few headaches in the first half. And the best opportunity for Salt Lake there from John Alexander, but parried over the bar. And then the breakthrough, the 11th goal of the season from Connor Casey, a perfect header. No one does it better. Watch this again as he beats Kyle Rainish comprehensively. So that made it 1-0. A late opportunity here from Pablo Campos, who seemed to get more comfortable as the half went on. Maybe he can get the breakthrough in the second half. Here are your statistics. 3 yellow cards, Connor Casey, Pablo Campos, and Marvell Wynn. They all need to be careful. You saw how aggressive both teams were playing. Don't expect it to get any easier in the second 45. Colorado, with 6 games remaining on the season, probably need just 2 wins to book a postseason berth for the first time in 4 years. They may get one tonight. Hey, girls.
This has been the Dick's Sporting Goods halftime report.
Lake hosting the Colorado Rapids here on MLS Saturday on FSC. Getting set for second half kickoff here at Rio Tinto Stadium, Sandy, Utah. Alongside my partner, former U.S. international Christopher Sullivan, I'm Brian Dunseth. Christopher, you look at the stats. First 45 minutes, Real Salt Lake, 7 opportunities with corner kicks alone, but it was the one chance from Connor Casey that was the difference for the Rapids.
Without a doubt, and I think it's a double-edged sword. You want to put the right resistance on a player like Casey, but if you don't have the right positional sense, he could punish you. That's exactly what he did. We'll see the adjustments they make in the second half, but definitely we've seen some encouraging football from Salt Lake, and you'd think after the break that Colorado will make a few modifications to pull everything together.
It'll be the Rapids with possession, attacking from the left to the right. The home side, Real Salt Lake, defending from the right to the left. Borchers looking for Alexander, back to Grabavoy, pressured from Kimura. Not a good stat line for Real Salt Lake. Have not come back, once trailing heading into the halftime break. For the Colorado Rapids coming into this match, an emotional one, knowing they've been knocked out of the playoffs multiple times by Real Salt Lake, and most of those games falling on the last day of the season.
Well, if you remember the game we did, I think it was in June last year, Colorado came in, they had a great performance, they tied Real Salt Lake, and then on the 24th, that last game of the season where it came down for Salt Lake to go through, they won 3-0 in great fashion, and then they didn't look back, through the playoffs. Well-deserved of a title, playing against a very strong late break in LA.
We talk about the Rocky Mountain Cup, the Rocky Mountain rivalry between these two clubs. Started back in 2005 when Real Salt Lake entered the league. There's back-to-back wins for the Colorado Rapids, with Real Salt Lake fans taking massive exception to the fact that Kyle Beckerman, then a Colorado Rapids midfielder alongside Pablo Mascherani, had a lot of celebration on the field at Rice-Eccles Stadium. The last 3 years, though, falling in favor of Real Salt Lake. The side's starting to switch as Espindola in behind, offside.
The first touch was a little heavy, but that's a glimpse of what they're looking for. A little structure in the midfield, quick geometric passing, and then the slashy movement into the area, quicker in transition, more decisive going forward.
Playoff implications on the line, and he looked like he's onside, Christopher, at bottom of the screen. Great piece of skill, though, from Pablo Campos. Looked as if that ball from Fabian Espindola would have run out of bounds anyways.
Without a doubt. The important thing is that they're getting Espindola. Espindola had that good 10-15 minutes where he was pushing, being dangerous, and then the temper started flaring with some of the hard tackles and energy. They need to get back behind him.
Kanji back to Smith, service in the box, Mullen. Not a bad ball at the top of the 18-yard box, initially cleared by Alexander. Mullen, pressure from Grabavoy.
And you see that Mullen knows how to command the area. that right side. He called off Laurentowicz well, did well to hold possession and bring players to him.
3 players already sitting on a yellow card. Marvell Wynn, Connor Casey, as well as Pablo Campos from Real Salt Lake. Well won from Gene Alexander.
Yeah, probably for Gary Smith, they got the right player against Espindola. Marvell Wynn is a perfect matchup for him. He's using his speed and tenacious ability to torment and get inside tight against Espindola, who's so good at cutting and leaving players in their wake.
We talked about players off the bench for Jason Price: Beckerman, Finley, Johnson, Russell, Sabarillo, Schuler. On the other end for Gary Smith, Amiraqua, Danny Earls, Ross Laveau, Claudio Lopez, Scott Palguda, as well as Wells Thompson.
Yeah, so you'd give the edge by far to the bench of Real Salt Lake, and I think that in the last 30 minutes. And you see that this is the second time that Mullen, he's trying to get that understanding with Kimura. The last time it worked, this one Kimura wanted to go forward around him.
There was that understanding in the 36th minute that led to the opening goal of this match to Connor Casey. Combination play, an overlapping run from Kosuke Kimura. And the Rapids up 1-0 here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Kanji pulling away from Warner. Has Mastroni to his right. A little bit behind him. Cut back from Mastroni. Back to Casey, looking for the return. Pablo Mastroni in the box.
And he's starting to run Gravovoy pretty hard. This was a pretty routine connection in midfield, and Gravovoy doesn't make it. And I don't think that he was prepared for the pressure. Now he's got to track back. This is the second time Mastroni wants to float off that. But they still pick up a corner.
Well, he's talking about the physicality of Pablo Mastroni, the 33-year-old this year. 2 goals, 2 assists from that pairing in the midfield alongside Jeff Laurentowicz.
He looks better than he's looked in the last 5 years. And he told me that he flies all the time. He bought the tights on the planes that keeps the blood circulation. And I think the one he uses is called Zoot. He said it's the best. He swears by it. But definitely he's doing something right.
Jamie Smith, top of the 6-yard box, just touched out from Gene Alexander. Wallace. Line ball into space, and that'll roll out for a goal kick for Kyle Rainish and Real Salt Lake.
You notice in these first 5 minutes here in the second half, Brian, that Mastroni's also pushing more into the attack. Laurentowicz holding, so they're shifting. They're not going to just pull back in the shell. They want to also resist, get forward, and support those 3 attacking through Mullen, Connor Casey, and Kanji.
We're starting to see a higher line between Connor Casey and Matt Kanji. Are you surprised that they're initially putting that much pressure on the back line of Salt Lake?
No, I think that's smart from Gary Smith. We saw in the first half a few times that he was seeing that the real weakness was giving too much room to those back 4, and they were easily getting forward into Espindola. So they're cutting out the providers and the distributors.
It's been 3 wins in the last 4 matches for the Colorado Rapids, all coming at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. All 3-0 runouts. Wins over the Houston Dynamo, Chivas USA, as well as New England Revolution.
And I think we're going to see a sub. Gravovoy looks a little tired. He's played a lot of minutes. Might be Nick Gravovoy. You could see someone like Will Johnson coming in. Sabarillo, obviously. But it's got to be a midfield move at this point.
Jason Price has been very adamant about making sure that he is rotating players. Good rotation policy. Gravovoy, Tony Beltran playing 90 minutes 2 times in last week. For an update from the coaches, let's send it down to Steve Bell.
Yeah, guys, I caught up with both coaches. First for Gary Smith and Colorado. Very pleased with the way his team played in the first 45 minutes. The 3 specific things that he's looking for to improvement is possessing the ball a little bit better. Number 1, speed of play, as you see this shot go well wide. And then thirdly, the big one is better shape defensively. He says they can't get spread out. They've got to keep their shape in the defensive third of the field. But he was very pleased with their competitive nature. He said they fought for every ball. He wants to see that in the second half. As for Real Salt Lake, a lot shorter of a message from Jason Price. He said he was very pleased with the way his team played, with the exception of 15 seconds. A little lapse in defending, the cross that came through. But as you see, no big change to start the second half, but expect some changes coming.
Steve, thank you very much. Pretty much what we expect from Gary Smith. Very vocal from the sidelines. Very demanding of his players. Making sure that he's got everything sorted out defensively first and foremost. And we've seen the relationship so far. Matt Kanji, Casey, very, very solid here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Good look at Real Salt Lake head coach Jason Kreis as Kyle Beckerman, the captain, getting set to come on. No changes so far for either club as we hit the 53rd minute mark.
I think what we saw in the first 45 minutes that Andy Williams going forward, he was trying to support the attackers, but you really didn't have someone owning the midfield the way that Mastroeni commands, the way that Laurentowicz, and that's what you get with Beckham. Clearly one of the best in Major League Soccer. Deep line midfield that can orchestrate, relay, make the simple touches. But defensively, position, look out here.
Laurentowicz, top of the 18-yard box.
No.
Ball laid in.
Yeah, and there's that skip off the grass. You know, they put the water on the grass, it skips away, but with the way Laurentowicz strikes, he was in distance to let one go.
How many times have we seen Jeff Laurentowicz, not only from distance, but from set pieces?
Yeah.
That's the range where we see him pull the trigger all the time.
Yeah, he reminds you of Ronald Koeman back in the day, the way that he strikes it. He made a fantastic move into the channel.
Announced attendance tonight here at Rio Tinto Stadium, 18,317. Not bad with both BYU and the University of Utah football taking place tonight as well.
It's a great crowd. And you can see they're up, they're dancing, they're moving the upper deck. You got the full moon. But I think Jason Kreis made that move, Ryan, a little bit earlier than he wanted to because Colorado settled in very quickly in the second half. You know, they feel comfortable. They're actually stepping up from where they were in the first.
Mastroeni into space for Kanji. Borchers slowing him down on the sideline. Kanji facing up, isolated, looking to go to his right. Well read by Borchers. Big clearance with the left foot. Flicked into space. Recovered by Marvell Wynn.
I think what we're seeing here, you know this team better than anyone, Real Salt Lake, but Gravovoy has played in 2 games now where he's played that attacking midfield position, and it's a different, contribution and demand capacity that you need, that you got to run. So they're giving Warren a chance there, but if you use Gravovoy and put Warren out wide, maybe.
Williams from distance.
Oh,
Touched by Pickens and scorched just wide right.
yeah. And this looked pretty routine from the strike. Great precision and power behind it from Andy Williams. Pushes into space, takes a look up. He's got that earmarked at the far post. And he's got the momentum and the drive behind it. That's hard to do when you're running directly behind the ball, to get that type of power and that precision. Good breakout for Real Salt Lake.
Kyle Beckerman replacing Gene Alexander as Beckerman makes his 18th appearance of 2010. You can hear the crowd. The respectful applause for Gene Alexander, but also for that man, Kyle Beckerman.
And it's many times when you get a sub, you get a goal right after him. They've scored 5 corners this year, Real Salt Lake.
Williams in the box. Touched to the top of the 6-yard box by Casey. Warner. Under pressure from Kimura, all the way back to Tony Beltran. First touch is across the field to Gravovoy. Pressure from Laurentowicz. Andy Williams looking for that right foot. Campos looks to settle in the box. Pablo Campos hit his own player. Espindola.
Not bad.
Less preferred right foot for Fabian Espindola.
But you can see what he wanted to do. He got a look of this maze of players in front of him. He's trying to surprise Pickens right here. This is not easy the way it drops down to him. He's trying to keep it alive. Borchers has the presence of mind to let that by. Maybe if he sticks his foot and redirects it. But everything's happening so fast. Campos actually plays the ball off Borchers in front of Pickens.
Kanji through the legs of McKenzie. Recovered from Beltran all the way back. And it'll be a goal kick for Real Salt Lake. Laurentowicz and Kanji furious. Connor Casey in the mix as well. Casey will miss the next match against Philly after picking up his yellow card in the 11th minute, as the physicality continues here at Rio Tinto Stadium.
And that's going to put all the more pressure on Colorado to try to get the 3 points here in Salt Lake. It's going to be difficult without Casey in Philly, the way they play at home.
One player also sitting on yellow card warning, our latest substitute, the number 5 central midfielder, Kyle Beckerman. Next yellow card, he will miss the next MLS match as well. Winger, looking for Espindola. Kimura pressuring him on his right. Right-footed service in the box, deflected on the way in. Very fortunate defensively for Colorado.
I see an overrule here for a moment. It seemed as if they weren't going to get the call, but now you're getting this attacking pressure with it. Got 6 in the area.
Williams doubled up.
One of the things Beckerman does, ooh, they're going to slip in here.
Warner, little darting run in behind the defense.
And they keep pushing him behind the defense, but look how pushed up Beckerman. He's very good closing and recovering in high positions and then relaying out through the width.
Becker finds the feet of Grabavoy. Top of the 18, Grabavoy! Well smothered by Pickens.
They're getting the looks. Much more directed to the feet of Espíndola.
Espíndola isolated. Doubled up now. Good job by Matt Conji.
But
Turned the ball over 20 yards away, sprinted all the way back.
There's an onslaught of pressure now. And you see that Real Salt Lake has come to line. It's hit in, they're clicking into another gear. Good movement from Warner off the ball to make himself available.
Mascherani picking the pocket of winger. Conji, pressure from Beckerman. Good size and strength.
One of the things Gary Smith said when the first game and introduction of Matt Conji is that, you know, he's beautiful, great player. I like what he brings. He brings a different dimension, as well as Brian Mullen. He knew what he was getting with Mullen.
With Omar Cummings being out, obviously it's an ideal situation for Matt Conji, but what difference is the player from Amedi Bellucci?
Well, they're totally different. You know, Amedi Bellucci he orchestrates from a deeper position. Look at Casey here.
Kimura in the box, cleared by Belcher.
Yeah, he was running hard at the near post, but Amedi Bellucci is more classic. He tries to play like a classic number 10. You know, he floats around, and it's difficult to play that in this league, you know, the Valderrama style, but he's as close to a young player trying to play that.
Ball at Mullen, down the right-hand side. Mullen closed down by Beckerman. Top of the 18. Big swing by Matt Conji. Slight little touch from Tony Beltran. Williams gets his head up, long ball up over the top. Looking for Espíndola.
Well done. Great cutout.
There's that pace from Marvell Wynn once again.
That's a dangerous ball as well. Look at Mascherani, how he plays into the feet of Mullen here. It's starting to open up, but Real Salt Lake don't have the numbers on the attack enough. They only had 2 breaking out. They need a better presence. And this is why they'll probably look for Saborío. If they want to change the game, the moment is now.
The aforementioned Alvaro Saborío, Costa Rican international, 9 goals, 4 assists, as well as 6 goals in the CONCACAF Champions League. One of the reasons why Real Salt Lake finds himself atop of Group A. He will come in to replace Pablo Campos.
And I think this was a good performance tonight from Pablo Campos. You know, he played for the team. He got himself in good positions. He had a great little flick back there to release Espíndola. He gets a handshake here from Jason Price. Good work for the team. Unfortunate not to catch a goal early on.
One of the best newcomers to Major League Soccer this season, Alvaro Saborío, still just 28 years of age. Tonight making his 23rd appearance, and he's been crucial for the attack for Real Salt Lake, especially here at Rio Tinto
I think
Stadium.
he's been the best. You know, the best late acquisition, someone who's really made an impact in the league. I love him as a forward. I think he's fantastic.
And we always hear how long sometimes it takes for designated players, foreign players that can make a difference, especially offensively, to settle down. But Saborio, did he have the advantage because of his experience with Saprissa, as well as that international experience as well?
Yeah, I think that we've seen, you know, over the past in this league, the history of this league, in its infancy, that players from Central America can come in, South America, and do extremely well in a short time. David Ferreira is another one who just took a little time to get that, you know, uptake on the league, but once he started cruising, he's made a huge impact for Schellesheim.
Wells Thompson set to come in for the Colorado Rapids. He'll replace Brian Mullen. That'll be a straight swap for straight swap. Wells Thompson will patrol that right-hand side of the field. Fresh legs and similar mentality to a Brian Mullen, up and down, cause havoc, and will do everything that's asked for him defensively.
Well, it's funny, he said that Brian Mullen was one of the players that he looked up to, and he likens his game to a young type of Brian Mullen. I think he's still getting used to altitude. You know, he's only been here a few weeks in Colorado at Mile High, in that area.
Wells Thompson, a part of that trade with the New England Revolution that saw Jeff Lorenowitz come over to the Colorado Rapids. Preston Burpo, Corey Gibbs going the opposite way.
That's a great tackle. But then he makes himself available to initiate the play. Great switch. This immediately, that type of run and channel that's being opened up to Williams is totally different than we saw before. Good little run there from Warner.
Well, it's a chance for Real Salt Lake to book their spot in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Toronto, Real Salt Lake from BMO Field. Andy Williams with the 9th corner kick of the night for Real Salt Lake. Looking for the penalty spot. Winger! Clear-cut opportunity for the left back.
That one was a Kodak moment. It looked like he hung there for a while. The legs were stretched out. And I think he's surprised that he's unmarked. He's all alone right there, but he just can't really soar to get that and snap it down. Good look for Winger.
'66th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium, Sandy, Utah. It's the visitors. Colorado Rapids up 1-0. Connor Casey goal in the 36th minute, giving him his 11th goal of the season. Talk about red hot form. Once again, Connor Casey, 4 goals in his last 5 matches. Chris Winger finds Colin Warner. Looks for Spindola, cut out by Kimura. 50-50 challenge. A Spindola offside. Second time it's been close.
Oh, this one's really close. You see right here, he's going to pick up a card.
Fabian Espindola booked Wednesday night at Arabia Unido in Panama.
He was off the field.
Jason Price taking him off the field, putting him on the bench. Espindola sent off.
That's a good call.
That one, the right call made by the linesman. 4th player to go in the book of Ramon Hernandez tonight.
I see this right here, and this is give credit to Gary Smith, sticking with the trend of putting that high pressure, making it difficult, complicated for that back four of Colorado to easily exit.
Real Salt Lake getting ready for another substitution. This time, it's Will Johnson getting set to come on for Real Salt Lake. Winger down the left-hand side, closed by Thompson. Looking for the feet of Saborio, cut out nicely by Moore. Breakout opportunity for Kanji, isolated, one-on-one with Borchers. McKenzie closing down, good step by McKenzie. Kanji recovers, out to Casey, top of the 18. Beltran, no help. Connor Casey, overlapping run. Smith! Great reactions from Kyle Rainish.
And Kanji didn't make that 2-yard step to at least give Smith another option. But look at the pause, the hesitation. And this is what we talked about, a big man, Casey, still having that vision and precision to play that type of ball, lay it off with good weight.
There's nothing that Kyle Rainish could do about the first goal from Connor Casey. Beyond that, been very, very solid across the back line for Real Salt Lake tonight. Flicked in ball into space. Espindola! Fabian Espindola deflected!
Now this one, Fabian, he totally mishits it. A great release, and you see the ingenuity. I was wondering what Grabavoy was doing. He was so high, he knew what he wanted to do. He releases this ball through, perfectly played. 100% opportunity for Espindola.
Well, we've been talking all night about Marvell Wynn. Right there, Drew Moore. Right place, right time, well read by the central defender for Colorado. Beckerman finds the feet of Sabarillo. Quick blind turn cut out by Thompson. Kimura. Pressure by Grabavoy. Forced back inside. Mastroeni finding the space away from Beckerman. Big switch to Wallace. Mastroeni looking to get it back. Smith. Good possession across the back line for the Rapids. So now it's Lorenowitz. Back to Kimura. Right to left, back to the right. Kanji tries to go through the legs. Cut out once again. Grabavoy. Flicked up ball up over the top. Sabarillo offside.
And I think it was a late call because he looked at the assistant referee. Sabarillo thought that he was off and he realized no one had called it at that point. But watch how long, the ball was great with good effect. It drops down. He tries to spin away and then the flag goes up.
Last substitution available for Real Salt Lake. This time it's Will Johnson. Coming off 2 goals against the Rabi Unido Wednesday night in Panama. He replaces Ned Grabavoy. '24th appearance for the Canadian international. Johnson, immediate pressure on the ball. Forcing the turnover from Mastroeni. Winger. Back to Borchers. Johnson has Thompson to his right. Little touch by Thompson. It'll be a throw-in for Real Salt Lake. Quickly taken. Finds the feet of Winger. Settles with the first touch. Service in the box. Well read once again from Drew Moore. Kimura. Deflected clearance. Pickens off his line. Smith. In behind space. Casey. Rainish. Huge deflection off his line. Casey. Great challenge by Borchers. Referee says play on, all ball. Rashawn McKenzie down in the middle of the field. Real Salt Lake out of substitutions. Johnson, big switch of the field to Beltran. Rashawn McKenzie still down. Finally knocked out of bounds, so McKenzie can receive medical attention. Another look at the buildup. Connor Casey in behind the defense. As Rainish stays connected. Great header right there. As Nat Borchers virtually saving Real Salt Lake from going down 2-0.
We haven't seen those two going against each other. But Rainish with impeccable timing to come out with the right intensity. And we knew he was going to be called one-on-one.
It's a head coach's worst nightmare. You use that final substitution. Within a few minutes, you see a player go down. Good news, though, for Real Salt Lake. Rashawn McKenzie up, running it off.
And I think for Jason Kreis, as you see Kanji coming out, and I thought Kanji was good. Kreis has been pulled into the emotion of this game. You know, he started out, he does his 300 meters with his coaching staff before the game, kind of get the anxiety out and so forth. But as this game has pushed on, he's been brought into it that much more because they're right on the cusp of getting that equalizing goal. But you have to give credit to Colorado, the way that they've resisted, they've solved it. They've put up a good fight in the second half. They scored an important goal. And it all comes through the midfield off that pulse of Laurentowicz and Mastroeni.
Matt Kanji's night is done. Ross LeBeau enters here at 74th minute. Immediate foul on Kyle Becker. Connor Casey already sitting on that yellow card. In the 11th minute, the challenges continue to be physical here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Something, Christopher, we both honestly expected. Blind ball into space. Sabaria back to Espindola. Has Johnson overlapping to the left. Timely challenge from Marvell Wynn and recovered from Mastroeni. Matt Borcher steps in front of Ross LeBeau.
Yeah.
Very fortunate not to go on the book for that challenge.
And I don't think it was necessary because LeBeau was probably not going to get that before Wingert right here. It was a pass, but he was chasing. Mastroeni is starting to hunt in the midfield, and he's looking for the second and third ball.
For Ross LeBeau, just his 5th appearance of the season to the University of Virginia product.
But you can't put a price on what Connor Casey has brought. Not only the goal, but his hold-up play and his possession, and making himself available deep in the midfield at the right time. So valuable.
Jamie Smith looking to skip between defender and midfield. Beltran. Sabarillo digging in on Drew Moore. Finds Espindola. Good pressure once again from Marvell Wynn. Just so much speed and agility from Marvell Wynn. To beat him at pace, virtually impossible.
I think it has been impossible in the final third because it's a short approach. You know, if you give him space from a deeper position, I think that he'll have the upper hand or a combination possibility. He really misses Morales tonight.
Johnson, 1 versus 3, looks to keep possession, cut out by Thompson. Thompson has Casey, finds LeBeau, cut out by Williams. Andy Williams, 3 versus 6.
Everything was too funneled, too narrow there.
Johnson keeps it in play. He does. Beckerman. Triangle passing from Real Salt Lake. Good pressure in the midfield from Colorado. McKenzie. Beltran looking for the far post. Just out of the reach of Colin Warner. Well, it's the El Clasico, ESPN2 Game of the Week. Chivas USA hosting the LA Galaxy this Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a live kickoff on ESPN2. It's been another strong night in goal for Matt Pickens. 7 shutouts this season, tying his mark last year. Pickens very, very vocal across that back line. Come up huge a few times, staying connected, especially with the height advantage that Real Salt Lake had with Pablo Campos and now Alvaro Sabarillo. Colin Warner gets away from Laurentowicz and Mastroeni. Well read by Kim Warner. Quickly taken, Colin Warner in behind the defense. Looking to utilize outside of the right foot. Possession turned over and another corner kick. Marvell Wynn furious at Kosuke Kimura. Johnson quickly taken from the near side. Top of the 6, ball deflected. Espindola! Just missing the far post.
How many looks has he gotten tonight? This one, he's trying to deal with a collection. On the inside, he gets a skip off the wet grass. Great ball in. Beats everyone in the central. They miss right here, comes through. There's the collection. He's just trying to get that little half rhythm, boom, and he can't get it on goal. And look at the 2 in front. Sabarillo, he's still trying to make himself available.
78th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium, Sandy, Utah. Real Salt Lake on the verge of seeing their 23-game home unbeaten streak, an MLS record here broken to the visitors, their Rocky Mountain Cup rivals, Colorado Rapids. No substitutions left for Jason Kreis. For Gary Smith, Scott Palguda, Claudio Lopez, Danny Earls, and Quincy Amarikwa all available.
And I think you were talking about all the records with Salt Lake. There's one going in, I think they'd only given up 16 goals. And now they're at 17, obviously. But I think the record back a few years ago was from Houston, 23 in a single season. So with 5 games, they still have a chance to be the lowest scoring team against in MLS history.
Well, not just the unbeaten streak, but if you go back to MLS play, Real Salt Lake has lost just 1 time in the last 20 matches in MLS. This year, 10 wins, 0 losses, 3 draws here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Jamie Smith looking for the far post. Drew Moore with the initial touch, keeps it in play. McKenzie. LeBeau closing him down. Little cutback from McKenzie. The Colorado Rapids have been playing some of their best soccer the last 2 months, even during their losses. As Johnson from distance looking for the far post.
That's right. That's all he needs. And Saborio is asking, hey, why don't we link up here? But Johnson, obviously, we've seen the goals that he's scored over the last few years. All he needs is a look. He finds a channel right here. He's going to test. Because it's not a bad strike at that far post.
And for Will Johnson, 1 goal, 1 assist in Major League Soccer play. CONCACAF Champions League, 3 goals in the last 4 matches. And he probably should have had 4. That controversial opening goal at Cruz Azul called back. Williams, bodies off Larinowitz.
He's got to stay home a little more in the domestic league in those games because the intensity and the movement up and down is a little different than that pause that's incorporated in CONCACAF Champions League.
Wallace, solid night for the 21-year-old on the left-hand side for Colorado. Ball up over the top. That'll go all the way back to Kyle Range. Jason Kreis has been utilizing the depth of his squad and using the history of both the Houston Dynamo and Columbus Crew to make sure the starters not only sharp but fit for the final run-up. Christopher, no surprise tonight that Colorado Rapids came into this match highly motivated, highly ready. As this ball goes up over the top, Drew Moore. Well, what I'm wondering is
great continuation here from
if there's a little bit of disrespect on the side taken from the Colorado Rapids, seeing that so many changes have been made from Jason Kreis' squad.
Well, I think anything can motivate you, and for Gary Smith, it's just one more additional motivation to come out and perform. Look at this.
Saborio off the crossbar. It'll be pulled back anyways. Offside once again.
Good ball, and you can see it's lifted at that back post. Again, the presence in the heart of the area. Espinola has been tormenting with all those movements. He's on the ground. And Saborio rarely misses from here. You can see the balance and agility. He's just trying to place it. He's got the eye and contact of the movement of Pickens. He's beaten him there, but he can't beat the post.
He's always known for playing off the back shoulder of defenders. One of the reasons why we see Alvaro Saborio pick off so many back passes to goalkeepers. He just looks to play in behind, especially with a player like Marvell Wynn, looking to take as many advantages as possible.
And you see Beckham, and he's operating from that deeper position where Beckham does so often for LA. This one doesn't go into Johnson. Going back to your question about Gary Smith and Jason Kreis, I think when we heard Mastroeni in the pregame say, you have to come in and respect this team. You know, they know that they're playing in the international competition. They know that this is the 4th of 5 games in 13 days. So it's all right to put the team that they did out. But if they get a victory against Toronto and go through the next round of CONCACAF, regardless what happens tonight, that's a victory for Jason Kreis.
A win in Toronto Tuesday night will book their spot in the quarterfinals and allow them just to take a breather in CONCACAF Champions League group leg play. Kyle Rainish once again shouting out directions across his back line. Soft back pass, forcing him to just knock the ball out for a Colorado throw. Anthony Wallace going into the book. Time wasting, 82nd minute. Warner now on the right-hand side. Andy Williams occupying the point.
And I think for Gary Smith, right now, they're executing a plan. They knew what they were up against, coming against a very difficult team that can play throughout, regardless who's playing. But you come in, you get behind your two forwards, you solidify the midfield, you play with the right rhythm, speed and transition. They've done that. They caught a great goal. You look at the games they have. They have Philadelphia at home without Casey now because of the yellow. Then they have DC. Then they go to Dallas, which is not going to be easy, and then they play against LA. So, very important. If they can grab these 3 points tonight, it will be a huge result for Gary Smith in Colorado.
With the exception of the 3-1 loss at Columbus, as well as the 3-1 loss at New York, this team has not lost a match in Colorado Rapids since mid-July. Service in the box, cut out for Mastroeni.
Well, there's that period that Colorado was playing great football, but they weren't scoring. And there was a quandary. Say, hey, these are the two guys for Gary Smith with Connor Casey and Cummings. When are they going to explode? It was a matter of time. And actually, it was that game we did in Colorado against Houston where they had a fantastic team effort, where the goals were great, the movement, the speed.
It looked as if Ramon Hernandez just booked Colorado goalkeeper Matt Pickens for time wasting as well.
I think that Salt Lake has been called offside 5 times tonight, but they're trying to push it between the central defense. Something you talked about, Brian, I think the highlighting the defensive play of Marvell Wynn tonight. He's been great.
Marvell Wynn back to full fitness after suffering a hamstring strain against the Houston Dynamo. Played the full 90 last week, 3-0 win against the New England Revolution. Tonight has been very, very good in his central pairing alongside Drew Moore. Williams. Another timely touch by Wynn. Smith looking for the feed of Connor Casey. Beckerman goes down underneath the challenge of Mastroeni. Two players that know each other very, very well. As Pablo Mastroeni was bringing Kyle Beckerman along as a young player in this league.
Two similar players. A lot of respect between those two, without a doubt. But I think what's even funnier was Borchers, because you know how big Borchers is and how the way he flew off Connor Casey right there to get that little touch. He was trying to lay off into the feet of Mastroeni. That's been a battle tonight.
Thompson goes down underneath the challenge of Beltran. That'll earn Colorado the free kick.
It's just speed. First one to the ball to try to win it. I think that Thompson gets the benefit of the doubt. His touch wasn't on, but an important pickup here for Colorado.
Well, we talked about it in the first 45 minutes. The fourth official, Yadier Reyes, getting an earful from both sides. But then the last 5 minutes, it's been from the Colorado Rapids. Gary Smith, David Kramer, as well as Steve Guppy, all having animated conversations on the near sideline. Larinowitz from distance. Never had a chance. The 86th minute here at Rio Tinto Stadium. Real Salt Lake on the verge of having their MLS record 23-game unbeaten streak snapped. It's 3 seasons in a row that the Colorado Rapids have been knocked out of playoff contention after losses to Real Salt Lake. Revenge was on the mind. Jason Christ making multiple changes to his starting 11. Johnson, triple team.
Oh, he did well.
Back to Espindola. Service looking for the far post. Andy Williams. Settled with his right. Big bounce for Williams. Couldn't keep that ball in play. And the 18,317 here at Rio Tinto Stadium, giving it to the far linesman once again.
That's a pity. The first one takes a high bounce, but he did well just to caress it on the second reception. Good little exchange between Johnson and Espindola, making something out of nothing with high pressure. Enclosure.
We talked about Colorado's record with the first goal. 10 wins, 0 losses, 4 draws. They have been very, very good in the goals allowed category in the final 15 minutes of a match. Just 2 times this year, they have given up goals closing out. You got to think tonight, Gary Smith has done everything to prepare his squad to be able to deal with this Real Salt Lake attack. Espinal, pressure by Kimura. Gets his cross off. Pickens stays on his line. Sabarillo, chance moves, and shouts for a handball in the box, and he got the penalty.
Yep.
Will Johnson got the penalty.
Oh, he's going to take it with the assistant referee, Pablo Mastroeni, saying, yeah. And it's definitive right here. He's made the call.
It's going to be controversial. Keep an eye. Marvell Wynn, hand down.
Yeah, there it is right there.
You can see the
Great
hand
caught from
extend.
the cameraman right there.
And that's the toughest thing, Christopher. Is it hand to ball or ball to hand?
Yeah, no, that comes on in the area. Sabarillo's coming. It drops off the thigh into the left hand. Good work from Fernando Rey, our cameraman, the Argentine who's so good, always on the field. Unfortunate for Colorado, though. The big opportunity for Sabarillo here in Real Salt Lake.
I'll take another look. Marvell Wynn, left arm, number 22. Yeah. Ball comes out.
Now you see the hand, though. It drops, Brian. It's up high, and it drops down as it comes.
But right now, it looks as if Ramon Hernandez is changing his mind. Looks as if it's going to be a drop ball situation. I don't think a single person here at Rio Tinto Stadium knows exactly what's going on. It's going to be a drop ball. He took away the penalty. And even furthermore, it's a drop ball on the touchline. Williams keeps it in play. Deflected on the way in. Sabarillo. Beckerman. Top of the box. Borchers. And cleared from Thompson. And you can hear it. You can hear it throughout the stadium. Ramon Hernandez, controversial point to the spot. Consulted with his official. Overturned it. And it was a drop ball on the touchline just to the right of Matt Pickens' goal. Well, hopefully Steve Bell might be able to come up with the explanation from the sideline. As now Steve Guppy, David Kramer as well as Gary Smith looking to utilize that final substitution.
What a turn of events. I mean, you look at the tide of emotions. There's the facial expression of Jason Kreis. They're trying to find out with the fourth official. We got Steve with the fourth official. Well, it was clear when you look at Marvell Wynn, first of all, where he was positioned and where the drop ball was worn in the same location.
All the way back to the goalkeeper, Rainish comes out. Deflected again, shouts for a handball. Connor Casey hit Borchers. 4 minutes. Added extra time indicated by the fourth official, Yadier Reyes.
There's still plenty of time for Real Salt Lake. I mean, you see that Sabarillo, what he can do when he's positioned in the area.
An update from the sideline. It's going to get even more controversial. The fourth official does not know exactly what the call was made. And at this stage, not trying to throw anyone under the bus. This is going to be a controversial situation and an ending to this match. Colorado's been very, very good at Rio Tinto Stadium. And at this stage, once you see a referee point to the spot and then change his mind, it's one of those situations where we might have to wait for the referee's report to come out to officially find out what the ruling was.
And I don't want to speculate, but we've seen so many things happen in football in this game, but he pointed to the spot, he went to his assistant referee, the referee was pushing back the players as if he was saying that's the call.
The final change of the night, Colorado Rapids replacing Anthony Wallace, bringing in big center back Scott Palguda. McKenzie getting into the 3rd minute of 4 minutes of added extra time. Beltran lofted ball in the box. Sabarillo. Header cleared in space by Marvell Wynn. Recovered. by Winger. First touch, service with the left foot into the box. Top of the 18-yard box, Tony Beltran. Tony Beltran deflected. Connor Casey, fantastic first touch away from the defenders. Looks to release the pressure down the near side, as it'll be a throw-in for Chris Winger. Quickly taken, finds the feet of Andy Williams. Williams, top of the 18-yard box, Beckerman, Borchard! Nat Borchers levels, 90-plus minute. Real Salt Lake 1, Colorado Rapids 1. The controversial call doesn't matter. And Christopher, the Colorado Rapids made every change possible to stop this from happening.
Well, we said there was plenty of time, and it's like a tidal wave of emotion. The stadium exploded. Great service from Williams, and you see Borchers puts himself right place, right time. Good precision to snap that away at the far corner. Rises with perfection, and this is a huge, monumental goal for Real Salt Lake to equalize and take that important point late in the game.
It was Nat Borchers' first goal of the season, and couldn't be more timely for the home side. Just when everyone thought Real Salt Lake's unbeaten streak at 23 games would be snapped, it's an opportunity to take it to 24. The last time they lost was against the Kansas City Wizards, May of 2009.
And they were looking for a foul there. You see the whole bench, Robin Williams, Jason Christ.
Real Salt Lake looking for the winner. Beltran into the box. Pickens with a punch. Kimura, pressure on Johnson. Little dummy into space. Takes 2 touches, 3. Finds Beckerman. Top of the 18-yard box. Pressure from Lewinowitz. Big switch. Williams. Gets away from Mastroeni. Beltran isolated with Thompson. Far side. Tony Beltran. Cuts back in. Williams looking to go through the legs of Wells Thompson. That'll be a throw.
The idea was
seconds of the match.
And you see how instrumental Williams has been on that right side in the late stages. There it is.
That's it, all level. Nat Borchers, 93rd minute goal, levels things here, 1-1 at Rio Tinto Stadium.
What an amazing game. You got to give credit to Colorado. They came with a plan, they executed, catching an important goal, but that never say die attitude. Playing for the shirt, Borchers with a huge goal, coming up big for Jason Christ. Late introductions and a big result, big equalizing goal for Real Salt Lake. Fantastic.
Real Salt Lake 1, Colorado Rapids 1. It's a final here from Rio Tinto Stadium.
The WPS Championship happens tomorrow. You can see it on Fox Soccer Channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. FC Gold Pride versus the Philadelphia Independence. And then next week we head to Frisco, Texas, as FC Dallas hosts the Chicago Fire. The streak is alive, and they waited till stoppage time to continue it. Nat Borchers with a game-tying goal as Rio Tinto Stadium erupts. 1-1 your final score. Let's show you our Glidden play of the game, and is there any doubt? The long ball in and the header. What a match for Borchers. Not only did he score this goal, but he saved one at the other end. Remember that brave header? He cleared the ball away from Connor Casey with the goal open. So a fantastic night for Nat Borchers, and he's standing by downstairs with Steve Bell.
Yellow cards, we had hard fouls, we had a little controversy. From a viewer's perspective, looked like playoff atmosphere. How about for you out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Colorado came in with a game plan basically to clog the middle and to basically get the ball to their front runners and Connor and Conti. They did a great job, I thought, of playing against us. But to be fair, we dominated the game, and I think it was a well-deserved point for us.
You picked a heck of a time to score your first goal of the season. The streak was in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Walk us through what you saw.
It's one of those things where you just want to get up front and try to get your head on something. And it was just a really good ball. I believe it was Tony Beltran played in. And really all I had to do was just put my head on it and get something, and luckily went in.
Finally, a little bit of controversy at the end. I just talked to the fourth official and the head official to get his perspective. He said he's going to write it down. What did you see and hear out there?
You know, to be honest, I wasn't near the play, but when the referee calls a penalty, I'm pretty sure that's a penalty. We were a little bit distraught that he changed his mind. Obviously, we want to make sure we get it right. I'll have to go over the video and see what happened, but at least, like I said, at least we got the point and we fought back.
Thanks again. Great goal tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Streak's alive. We'll send it back.
It is alive, and it looked in serious jeopardy when the penalty that wasn't. If that doesn't make sense, we'll revisit the controversy. Salt Lake with a late game-tying goal from Nat Borchers, 1-1 your final. Highlights from around the league on the way. TFC and CONCACAF Champions League action. Salt Lake advances to the quarterfinals. As for Seattle, they'll face Marathon from Honduras, looking for their first win in the CONCACAF
I like
Champions
how you
League.
said it. Marathon.
Is that how you say
That's
it?
good, yeah.
Rosetta Stone, I'm telling you, works for us. When the moon hits your eye, it's like a big pizza pie. That's amore, right? And you gotta love the action here tonight. A cracker of a match. Salt Lake with a stoppage time, game-tying goal from Nat Borchers. His name is Christopher Sullivan. My name is Todd Grisham. Welcome to our post-game show. Before we get too in deep into our highlights and our analysis, let's send it downstairs to Steve Bell, who has Salt Lake's head man.
Jason, running all the gamuts of the emotions there, from thinking maybe the streak is over to anger with the PK to an unbelievable finish. Walk us through your emotions.
Yeah, it was a great game tonight, I think, for the fans, for everybody involved, emotional affair, a lot of tough tackles, a lot of challenges, a lot of good play, I think, by both teams, and so just a fun to be a part of.
You made quite a few changes for the starters tonight. What did you learn about the depth of your team tonight?
Again, I think a lot of our guys that came in and played for us tonight had very positive showings, so we feel really, really good about where we're at right now.
After a game like this, what do you tell your team?
Got to believe. I'm really, really pleased with them. I was really pleased with them for the entire 90 minutes. I thought we played a lot of really nice soccer, created a lot of really nice chances, and I think we had to feel a little bit hard done that we didn't maybe get another goal to go ahead and get the win. And
then some confusion there at the end. What was your take on what happened?
I have no idea. No idea. I mean, from where we stood, we thought that he had called a handball, but you know, I really didn't see it myself. One of the assistant coaches said, "Yeah, definitely there was a handball," and then I don't know. We were asking the fourth official. He was asking the head ref, and they never got us an answer. So we'll look for one here in the next couple minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Let's delve into that controversy as we take a look back at our Panasonic game shots. And Christopher, Colorado had a game plan, and they executed it perfectly as we start in the first half. Drew Moore with the header. They wanted to get ahead early, put some pressure on these novice players for Salt Lake.
Well, we saw that Salt Lake, you know, and this is just because in the trenches, day in and day out, they play a certain style of football. But if you give this player, Connor Casey, a glimpse of light, he'll punish you. He did that. He snaps with authority right here in the far post, really turns this game on its head, and then you look for the reaction, the insisting going forward. Espinola was good. You saw players that were pushing, but they couldn't get that goal.
There was an opportunity, hits the crossbar, and then again, up in the air and down. May have been the same opportunity twice. Never mind. Moving on. The header from Nat Borchers. After all the controversy, the handball from Marvell Wynn. His first goal of the season, and they say sometimes justice and football are total strangers. Tonight, they were good partners.
Without a doubt, and I think that Borchers, when you look at the way that he's come out, not the first time he's done that, huge goal for his side.
All right, let's take a look from highlights around the league. We'll do that when we return. Big point at home. The streak is alive at 24. Welcome back to Rio Tinto Stadium. We heard from Salt Lake City's head man. Let's hear Colorado's perspective. Gary Smith standing by with Steve Bell.
Coach, you come into one of the most difficult places to play, 23-game home unbeaten streak. Your team gives a great effort. What do you say to them after a game like tonight?
Well, a lot of those guys are disappointed having conceded in the last 30 seconds. But there were occasions we could have extended our lead. Although it was an extremely tight derby, as everybody might have expected from two sides that I thought for the vast majority of the game were, you know, competitive, were committed, and I thought both teams gave their fair share of good football and good opportunities.
What do you think as you look at that final play with the PK? What was your take on what happened on that controversial play?
Well, there was a little bit of a scramble, and I thought Matt made a good save. I still wasn't quite sure. It's a long way away, and the ball ricocheted around an awful lot in there. There were one or two of those. It seems like there was a whistle blown for a reason that in the end wasn't to be. I couldn't give you a true and clear opinion of that because I was too far away. But obviously pleased at the time that he'd obviously got his decision wrong, and thought we'd held out, but it wasn't to be.
Again, you get 1 point in a very difficult place to play down the final stretch of the season. Where's the focus now in the remaining games?
Well, this was always going to be one of the really tough away games we had. In the end, it's a terrific point, and it's another point towards where we want to be. We have 2 home games coming up, and 2 teams that are coming in that will, feel under less pressure. They'll feel as though they're coming to us and they can get something out of the game, I'm sure. But, we'll certainly be looking to get maximum points out of those 2 games and see if we can confirm our place in the postseason.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
All right, that was Gary Smith. We now have 6 games to show you full of highlights. You ready to do this?
I'm ready to do it.
Some great goals.
Take me there.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready, buckle your seatbelts. We start north of the border. Toronto hosting San Jose. I know you liked the Earthquakes this year.
I think they played well under Frank Gallup. He's got the right team.
Early on, Bobby Comby taken down. Chris Wondolowski steps up, buries the penalty. An emphatic strike. It's 1-0 in the 2nd minute. Now 53rd minute, and it's Wondolowski again. His 2nd goal. It's 2-0, and then the goal of the game. Watch this.
That's great.
I mean, he's like kicking it towards the house like time to come in, kids.
That's a Platini goal.
Fantastic stuff from D-Row, but the player of the game was Chris Wondolowski. He gets the hat trick. That makes it 3-1. Toronto would score a late consolation goal through Maicon Santos, but the Earthquakes, big 3 points. This really could.
In Toronto.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Oh, my man.
Earthquakes may be headed to the postseason. Philadelphia, the team that Colorado will play on Wednesday, at home against Chivas, and it was a great day at PPL Park. Alejandro Moreno with the headed goal, and then the Brazilian Fred bangs that one home to make it 2-0, and it wouldn't be a Philadelphia Union game without a Sebastian Letou goal, and there it is. His 11th of the season. Philadelphia 3-0 winners at home. I think Peter Novak's happy. Nice dance.
He brings the energy week in and week out.
New England at home against Columbus. Columbus may be sliding a little bit right now, Christopher. They wanted to get their mojo back in Foxborough, but this isn't the start they hoped for. Pat Phelan, his 2nd of the year, 1-0 2nd minute. Then a bit of a controversy. This is called a penalty. Showery Joseph buries it, 2-0. But Columbus not going away quietly. An own goal there. Steven Linhart applying the pressure. So it's 2-1. And then a handball on Showery Joseph. And Schelotto puts it away. 2-2 your final. The Crew with a road point. So what do you think of Columbus's play right now?
Well, I'm just laughing that handball happened at the 10-yard line, but he was in the box. I think about Schelotto, this team has the fatigue from playing CONCACAF champions, but when playoff time comes, they'll be there.
Well, here's 2 teams that won't be there, Christopher. DC hosting Houston, but what a bright future for this young player. Andy Nahar, watch and enjoy.
He's been the sensation this year. 17 years old, Honduras passport, but also U.S. national team. He's been fantastic. In a difficult year for DC, he's been great.
His 5th of the season, an ugly own goal there by Devin McTavish. Makes it 1-1. And then Jeff Cameron. What a player he is. He can play offense, he can play defense, he can score goals. He does it all. That was his 2nd of 2010. Then in the 99th minute of play, maybe the 100th, Dominic Aduro with his 4th, 3-1. Houston.
That's important for Houston. I mean, psychologically, they've been down. They've been beaten down. For Dominic and Neal, they need to get back on track, so big win for them tonight.
DC and Houston battling it out for the worst record in the league, so a bit of a ray of sunshine for the Dynamo. Seattle on the road to Chicago. This was a must-win for the Fire if they wanted to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Osvaldo Alonso with the header. missing wide. This game played at Toyota Park. Marco Papa. Right there, great save by Casey Keller. And then the designated player who used to play for Seattle, now at Chicago, Freddie Youngberg, just missing. It was Keller with the save. 88th minute. Blaise Kufo, the DP, scored 3 goals in his last game, gets the game winner here, 4 goals in 2 games. The Swiss international with the game winner. And the Sounders now, who just a couple of weeks looked like they weren't going to get into the playoffs, now look a great bet to be there.
Yeah, they're starting to come on. Kufo is hot. He's been playing in the zone. And keep in mind, October 5th, we do the final U.S. Open Cup. They have a chance to win some hardware early in October.
They could win it again for the second year in a row. FC Dallas on the road, facing off against the Kansas City Wizards. The Wizards have been tearing it up lately, but so too have Dallas, looking for their 17th game in a row without a loss. Nice goal from Martin Chavez, his first of the season. It's 1-0. And then later, more from FCD. Milton Rodriguez beating Jimmy Nielsen. It's 2-0. And then Kansas City will get a goal. Ryan Smith beats Dario Sala, who's filling in, of course, for Kevin Hartman. The controversy there with Thierry Henry.
The MCL sprain.
Thierry Henry, of course, was fine. And then Jeff Cunningham just cannot quit scoring goals. He's now 1 away from tying Jaime Moreno for the all-time lead in Major League Soccer. FC Dallas on the road, Christopher. I know you're not as big on this team as you are perhaps on Real Salt Lake, but they don't lose.
No, I'm big on Schellersheim, and I'm big on FC Dallas and David Ferreira, the players that they've had. He's built something special. They're going to be there in the playoffs. They're going to be a tough team to reckon with for sure. We go there next week.
Absolutely. They'll be at home. And here's some other games from earlier in the week. On Wednesday, you see the Dallas-New England draw. Kansas City wins. New York beating Los Angeles in Carson. San Jose earlier today over Toronto, and of course Philadelphia blanking Chivas. Here's our standings. This is what we want to talk about. Columbus 1 point better than New York, and there's the point total. Remember, only the top 2 teams from each conference are guaranteed playoff spots, then the 4 teams with the best points.
There, huh?
Absolutely.
Look at that.
33 points for Kansas City, 31 for Toronto. Now let's look at the Western Conference, and this is where the big boys are.
Right.
You can see FC Dallas with 46, San Jose 39, Seattle 39.
All the way to Colorado right there, huh?
Absolutely.
It could be a West year, huh?
Absolutely. It looks like at this point it'll just be 2 teams from the Eastern Conference unless something dramatic changes. But it's going to be a great battle between Colorado, Seattle, and San Jose. Is there one team besides the obvious that you think can maybe make a big push into the playoffs and surprise some people?
I think what we're seeing based on the game tonight with Colorado, that there's no easy games. Even in MLS, every game becomes important. Every point is difficult. But in the playoffs, you're going to get that playoff intensity. There's going to be no easy walkthroughs, walk in the park. San Jose is starting to be a team that can compete. Seattle at home at Quest Field is going to be a difficult proposition as well. Oh, I got to ask you a question, by the way.
Okay.
When we go to Dallas, now for your interview that you always sit down with, can you sit down with Schellersheim? Because there's some questions you got to ask him about martial arts. I want to learn.
We're going to talk about his mixed martial arts background.
Good.
We have some footage that you have to see to believe that's next week.
Take care of that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more segment to go here from where are we right now?
Rio Tinto.
Rio Tinto. I was just thinking Toyota Park. We just saw the house. Send us your emails, mlssaturday@foxsoccer.com. Apparently we have time to ask one real quick. Let's see. Alex Smith says, Christopher, FC Dallas, 17 games unbeaten. Do you think they can win the Western Conference and make it all the way to MLS Cup? A long way to go to pass both the Galaxy and Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win the conference. And you know, it's tonight was important because they got the 3 points, you know, and they played away. So you see that FC Dallas is a team that can win. They're starting to build into that next gear. I think that he's trying to augment this team to have them taper and be at their pinnacle at the right time. But I don't think they're going to win the conference. I think that RSL and LA will be there, but they're going to be a team that no one wants to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, and remember, it's a leg at home, a leg on the road. They don't use goals scored at home, so it could go either way.
That's still the best playing team, Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of players. This is the rotation of they're using young, inexperienced players. Salt Lake plays the best football game in and game out, whether they're playing a Mexican team, a Central American team, an MLS team, a physical team. They don't deviate from their style. They play the most fluid football, but anything can happen on any day.
Well, remember, the team with the best record always doesn't do the best.
That's
Last
right.
year, Salt Lake, the last place team to make it into the postseason, only 40 points, and they went all the way and won MLS Cup 2009. This year, that may be the best team in the postseason. I'm sure they prefer to get there that way, wouldn't they? And the dirtiest player in the game, according to some, right?
You can't say that.
Why not? He had a video about how he used to pull guys' underarm hair and hurt them.
He's a sweet guy off the field.
Now he is. His playing days are over. He joins Kyle Martino on Monday night. Hey, a big point on the road for Colorado, but they're going to be a little disappointed considering they gave up a goal with about 90 seconds to go. Another email here from Sarah Riley, who says, Christopher, you guys are talking about Real Salt Lake and their postseason opportunity. What about Colorado? Looks like they're going to make it. Do you think they could make it to their second MLS Cup final?
I think they can. I think that Colorado's a team that's going to be difficult. I mean, they're missing.
And remember, they didn't have Omar Cummings tonight.
Right, they didn't have Cummings, but you're seeing something special come together with Connor Casey, who's been playing fantastic football. I mean, he's very motivated. He can always get you an important goal. Cummings has been hot. Now you have Kanji, who can also break the pattern and do something special. They're missing that midfield creation through a player like Mehdi Bellucci, who went to New York, but they're very solid behind.
All right, so Colorado looks like they'll need maybe 4 or 5 more points to solidify a postseason berth. They've got Philadelphia on Wednesday at home. That's a very winnable game. Hey, tomorrow, Serie A action, Fiorentina and Parma. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And then Newcastle and Stoke City, both of these games here on Fox Soccer Channel. And then FC Gold Pride versus Philadelphia. It is the WPS final. One of these two teams will win it for the first time ever. Can Marta get the hard win?
Marta! Albertine Montoya.
Cue the music. FC Partizan and Arsenal. Arsenal losing today in the Premier League. They'll look to bounce back in Champions League action on Tuesday. And then FC Barcelona, who beat Atletico Bilbao today 3-1. Look to continue their hot streak without Lionel Messi.
Yeah, they're playing against Ruben Kazan.
As for us, we head to Pizza Hut Park. FC Dallas, 17 games without losing. And Christopher, we looked at the standings. Dallas a little closer than perhaps we thought. They got 3 more points today. I think they're just 4 points.
They're in there
behind the Galaxy for the Western Conference
We owe them an
League.
apology. I owe them an apology because seeing that they're that close, anything's possible with that team.
5 games to go for FC Dallas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, these two teams will meet again in the final game of the regular season, but both look to be great bets to make it to the postseason. For Christopher Sullivan, Steve Bell, Brian Dunseth, and the entire MLS Saturday crew, I'm Todd Grisham. The Fox Soccer Report is next. We'll see you next week in Frisco.